Hello and welcome to our podcast. Now, as students, I'm sure we've all at least heard of the word library. I used to hate the idea of going to the library, but now that a quiet space is essential to our study habits, Daisy and I have decided to take our podcast into the university's main library.
So we are here at the library, and it is a very common place for students to come and study, whether it is in groups or individually. There are many tools that are offered here to accommodate students' preferences and needs. For example, there is the One Button Room, study pods, and an open area for groups to study. The One Button Room is fixated on presentations and allows students to see and analyze their own speeches as long as they have a flash drive with them.
Now, the study pods are a little different. They provide an isolated room with a whiteboard that allows the student to study in groups. In order to reserve these rooms, students will have to go through the university email and simply reserve a room under the calendar tab. There are also open areas to study and a cafeteria that provides healthy and many options for the students. If students require a more quiet atmosphere, they can travel upward to the 2nd through 5th floor when it is almost completely silent.
We've decided to talk to Rachel, and she's been a librarian here for about 12 years, and this is what she has to say about the library's tools and finals week.
Rachel Garza Carrion, and I've worked here 12 years.
Awesome. What are some of the tools that you offer here at the library to help the students succeed?
Well, we have so many things. One of the biggest tools is actually the librarian themselves, because we can do research consultations and help the students use all the databases that we have. And being the University of Iowa, a research institution, we have a ton of databases to go through. So I think that there's so many of them that would help them with their papers, with bibliographies, with just the research in general. But for them to kind of know which ones to go to, I think the biggest thing is to talk to a librarian, because we're available through IM, through email, through anything. You can just walk up here.
So what kind of help does a student usually come to you for?
Usually it's when they're doing papers and they don't know kind of where to find information to help them have the sources for their papers. So either it's they need an academic journal of some form, and they need to kind of understand which ones they can use, which ones they can't. They bring us their homework and tell us what it's about and all that kind of thing. And then so we basically help them build upon what their interest is, or help them figure out what their interest is and what they're going to write.
Now, does the number of students that comes to the library increases during the final weeks?
It does. The number of people who come to the library in general does. I mean, because we're open this is open 24 hours, but it increases with just the abundance of people going to all the floors. Everywhere. They're everywhere. But coming to the desk, it becomes the people who have papers, the ones who have exams are doing their exam. But I think a little bit before the end, because if you procrastinated on your paper, then you kind of come a little bit, yeah. But if you didn't have a paper, a bunch of people were. The library itself becomes really crowded, or everybody comes here anyway. But the final, you see all the crevice places, all the other places,
Okay, and if you could encourage the student to use the tool provided by the library, which tool would you suggest the most and why?
I would always suggest that they come to the consultation station, or they talk to every subject has a librarian. Like my subject specialty is religion, so anything in religion I purchase, I research, and that's kind of my specialty. So you can talk to anybody in their specialty, which history, whatever, or you can just talk to any of us, because we can do all the other databases too. So I think that that's a tool that it's so helpful, but a lot of students don't know that they can just ask somebody to help them figure this out. Because we not all universities have so many databases, and we're lucky that we do. So I think the librarian themselves is the best thing they can possibly do.
That's awesome.
Thanks for the great information and input, Rachel. Now let's see what some of the students have to say about finals week and their involvement in the library. We've interviewed 3 students, and the first person we interviewed was Zachary, who is a graduate student. How often do you go to the library to study?
I'll probably go to the library once or twice a week, depending on if I have an exam or not. I usually study in a few different locations, the library being one of them, and then sometimes I go to a coffee shop, or sometimes I study at home. I feel like studying in multiple locations helps me remember the information better.
Have you utilized the tools and space provided by the University of Iowa to excel in your education?
I have. I use the computer sometimes, and then those little pod rooms. I like to do group studies in those because they're nice and isolated. They're really quiet and you can really focus on what you're trying to accomplish in those rooms.
What do you struggle with the most during final week?
Finals week is always challenging because you have to divide your attention between multiple different classes and it's hard to allocate time to everything. It's really a challenge of time management and balance.
If you could, would you change your study habits earlier in the semester to lighten your load during final weeks?
I usually try to start studying for finals a week or two in advance and try to study a little bit each day rather than leaving it all till the actual week of finals because it definitely helps lighten the load a bit and definitely makes it not as stressful trying to cram like 4 or 5 finals worth of information in your head within 4 days.
So final weeks are coming up. Do you have any advice for the freshmen to help them succeed during the college career?
Stay focused on your studies. Don't wait till the last minute to study. Like I said, start a week or two in advance. It always helps me. And just, work hard, give it your all.
Our next student is Brian. He's a senior here at the University of Iowa.
Hi, my name is Brian Dunkelberger. I'm a senior here at the University of Iowa.
Awesome. So I see that you're at the library here today. How often do you go to the library to study?
Probably not as often as I should, but it's actually my last semester here at the university. Throughout my time here in my undergrad years, I spent a fair amount of time. This semester in particular, I'd say that I come here at least once a week to get some assignments done.
It's a good number. Have you utilized the tools and space provided by the university to excel in your education?
Yes, you actually caught me on a good night. In about 15 minutes, I will be utilizing I want to say it's called the One Button Room, where you can record interviews and using video conference settings and stuff like that. So.
Awesome. And what would you say is your that you struggle with during the final week the most?
Sure, I'd say finals week for me personally is just prioritizing assignments and making sure that I spend enough time understanding concepts and making sure that I'm prepared for the test and then finishing whether it's final papers or projects at the same time.
Okay. If you could, would you change your study habits earlier in the semester to lighten your load?
I think most people would, and I am among one of them. So I'd say the best thing for me would have been just devoting myself a little bit more at the beginning of the semester to just maintaining maybe a calendar, just to have a better idea of when major projects are coming rather than looking a week ahead and seeing what's coming up.
Good idea. And finals are coming up. Do you have any advice for the freshmen to help them succeed during the college career?
Sure. I'd say for me personally, what worked well after my freshman year was just simply making lists, just because when you have something tangible in front of you and you can see what needs to be done and you can check things off, I think that helps a lot, and it helps you prioritize and understand what needs to be done. So I think it's a really simple tip of advice, but I think it's an effective way to make sure that you're getting everything done.
It's a great advice. Yeah, thanks for talking to us, and good luck with what you're doing tonight.
Sure.
And our last person we interviewed was Nicholas, who is a sophomore.
My name is Nicholas DeBlois, and I am a second year.
Okay, how often do you come to the library to study?
I come about once a week because I have a biology lab group that meets once a week.
All right, cool. Have you utilized any of the tools provided by the university, like to excel your education here at the library?
We use the reading rooms a lot to give us a little bit of privacy and the ability to write all over the walls. But other than that, no.
All right. What do you think you struggle with the most during finals week?
Time management, especially, yeah.
All right. And if you could do anything to change your study habits, like earlier in their semester, to lighten your load during finals week, would you?
Yeah, definitely. I think probably not wait to study everything until the week before finals.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then, since finals week are coming up, do you have any advice for freshmen to help them succeed during their college career?
Well, besides don't wait a week before finals to start studying. Yeah, don't procrastinate's the big one, I'd say.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Well, there you have it, with advice from other students and tips from librarians. Hopefully you are feeling a bit more prepared for those exams. There are always rooms to study and many people and tools to help you succeed at the library, especially during finals week. Remember not to stress too much, and good luck. We would like to give thanks again to the students and the librarian who participated in the podcast. Study hard, stay warm, and happy holidays.